Honourable members, yesterday Chris Hipkins raised in the House the blocking of an email he wished to send to a journalist. I undertook to look into the matter and come back to the House. The secure encrypted email system, known as CMail, exists primarily to encrypt emails exchanged between state sector organisations. CMail also prevents classified information being inadvertently sent outside of participating organisations. CMail has been in use in Parliament since 2007. Mail filters look for the words CMail, restricted, sensitive, or in confidence, which are attached to emails and documents at the choice of the sender. It then applies encryption to the email and attachments before sending them. It does not otherwise scan or store the content of emails. I have been given an absolute assurance that the Parliamentary Service email system does not scan emails, members' emails, other than for spam filtering, viruses, and CMail classifications. CMail is primarily used by ministers and their departments who need secure encrypted communication. But it currently applies to everyone with an @parliament.govt.nz email address. It blocks any email with a CMail security classification being sent to someone without that classification. The concern raised yesterday was that CMail system could hinder a member from carrying out his or her duties. Members must be free to send and receive information as they see fit. No other agency should be involved in determining how members deal with the information they hold. That approach is consistent with the findings of the Privileges Committee when it reported on the use of intrusive players into the parliamentary precinct. Equally, it is important that members are able to communicate securely, safe from external cyber threats. I have identified 5 possible solutions to the conflict between information security and the undoubted right of members to freely use information. 1. A member may remove the CMail classification from an email or document they have received. This can then be sent anywhere the member wishes. While this would have solved Mr Hipkins' immediate problem, it does not address the wider issue. 2. Ministers could instruct departments not to apply CMail security to information being sent to members who are not ministers. OIA responses should never be so classified in the first place. 3. If members are not satisfied with these 2 solutions, ministers could be given a separate email domain so that CMail applied only to them. That would require further discussion. Fourthly, Parliament could opt out of the system entirely. However, that carries with it considerable cyber security risks. A 5th possible solution, which does require further testing, is for CMail to be applied only to communications with participating CMail organisations. Then members' emails to journalists and the public will be sent freely and without scanning or encryption. The matter is a fairly complex one, and it cannot be resolved today on the floor of the House. It is, however, essential that it is resolved to the satisfaction of members, and that their ability to send and receive information is not in any way hindered. I will distribute this ruling to all members immediately. I intend to discuss it further with the Parliamentary Service Commission at its next meeting, and I would welcome representation from any members who wish to discuss this matter with me.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I understand your desire to discuss this further, and we will certainly take you up on that offer. Can I seek some reassurance from you that in the intervening period while those discussions are taking place, members will not continue to be blocked from sending emails outside of the system. And the issue arose yesterday when discussing the very ruling that you have just made with a journalist, where the email that I was discussing the matter in was blocked to the journalist that I was discussing it with. So I was unable to answer any questions about the matter that arose yesterday because the system picked that up and blocked me from doing so. I had to print the email and hand deliver it in order for the journalist to be able to receive it. That's unacceptable, and I want some reassurance that in the intervening period that will be stopped.
Yeah, if the member would just have a careful look at the ruling, the very first solution I give to him is that he himself can remove the classification. He may need some assistance to be shown how to do it, and that can be provided, but he himself can remove that classification, I am assured, and send it out. If it's a further point on this matter,
yes.
I have said that it's not really, this is a complex matter, it's
yes.
not one affecting the order of the House. I will hear from the member,
yes.
but I prefer discussion on this to take place away from the floor of the House so that all members can understand it more clearly.
Yes, Mr.
Further
Speaker,
point of order.
as is explained to me, any email containing the words "C-mail" and "sensitive" will be blocked. So therefore, any discussion of the ruling that you have just made will therefore be blocked. We will not be able to do that via email.
No. I will have an IT person contact the member immediately after question. Order, this is a serious matter. Immediately after question time, my understanding is while it's blocked, unless the member makes an adjustment to his computer setting and takes the blockage out, then he can't order by removing the word "C-mail, then he can send it to the journalist of his choice. Point of order, the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a different point of order. Can the Speaker assure the House that the screening of MPs' emails has not generated any reports accessible to the government at either DIA or the GCSB or elsewhere about that screening?
I have been given an absolute assurance that the C-mail is a setting which then involves no further scanning of the contents of email, and that there was an interjection I heard from somewhere. I'm on my feet. If I've misunderstood the question again, I think this is a complex matter. It's not a matter of order of the House today. I invite members to come and talk to me about it. To the best of my knowledge, there has been no scanning of information for any purposes at all.
Sir, you did ask whether you had misunderstood my question. It seems possible, sir, that this screening process creates a generation of a report where some confidential or document that the government has labelled confidential, which the system intentionally scans to pick up. I've asked an assurance whether you can give the House an assurance that no report is generated by anyone that's accessible to the government at DIA or GCSB or elsewhere as a consequence of that screening.
Well, I cannot give that absolute assurance today. I will look further into the matter and make contact with the member directly on further investigation. Point now, I have heard from the Right Honourable Winston.
Mr. Speaker, could you explain why it is that there have been attempts to block emails with respect to members of Parliament, and that later on they have been unblocked? What would be the process that has allowed that in the past to happen?
Again, I think I've covered that in great detail in my ruling. If the member would have a careful look at it, it's a system for cyber security purposes. There's a method by which a document, once marked by C-mail or in confidence, etc., as I've mentioned, then becomes encrypted until it's received by another party who is also part of C-mail, and then it is automatically unencrypted. So it's available then. The issue becomes when it's then attempted to be sent to somebody who's not within the C-mail system. And I think we're finding systems whereby we're going to be able to allow that information to freely be sent. It can as of today, but it may require members to understand how to adjust their computer to do it. Order. I'll hear from one other matter. The Honourable David Parker.
Well, with respect to that, sir, that's a bit preemptory, but I will accept your ruling in the meantime. Sir, can you assure the House that when an email or attachment has been screened, no one at Parliamentary Services, DIA or GSCB has had access to the email or attachments?
Yes, I can give that assurance, and I gave it in my original ruling. I just would be grateful if members, this is a complex matter, would people please take the time to read the ruling carefully. It will be further discussed at Parliamentary Service Commission, and I do invite all members to come and talk to me if they need to. No petition.